Hi, no, I'm not ma'am, your fellow student. Hi, my name is Okas Claire Chineye. I'm from Anambra State. I'm a 300 level student of Library and Information Science. I'm a twin too, but she's in theater art. She's also 300 level. And today is also my birthday. Thank you, thank you. So before we start, have you attended GS classes before? For once, for once. But have you gone through the PDF? Have you gone through the PDF? Wow. Okay. We'll try and cover up everything today. How many of you have GS exam on Monday? On Monday. So first of all, you have submitted your workbook, right? You have submitted your workbook, right? Do you have the picture of that workbook? Just so that you have to go through that workbook like 3 times. What did I say? 3 times, at least 3 times. Just go through that workbook. Because let me tell you something. Even if you don't attend GS class, listen, even if you don't attend GS class and you go through that workbook like 3 times, you're sure that you come out like with 43 because it's over 70. Just be sure that you come out like, if you come out from 43, 45, you're already having A. Because this workbook, they might not mark it. They might just go through it and just give you C, give you B, give you like any score they want. Because the workbook is over 30, it's your CA. So just pray that anybody that is handling your workbook has good heart. Do you get? So that person will not give you like maybe 15. Person should give like 28, 27. So if you have 40 something, when you come out from the GS exam, you already have A. So go through the GS. This thing we are going to do today is just like summary, so that when you're going through the workbook, if you see wrong questions or wrong answers, you're able to like, yeah, because I attended the class or I went through the PDF, you're able to detect that this answer is wrong and this answer is correct. You get? But mostly so far, to my year one, year two, and now they've been setting questions from the workbook and then past questions. Maybe sir will send the past questions later. You get? So if you have your PDF, let's start with Unit 1. Are you there? Oh, sorry. I said that if you're with your PDF, let's start with Unit 1. Are you with your PDF? Can you hear me? This PDF is the summary of the workbook. So, it's the summary of the workbook. It's the workbook itself, but they wrote it in a way that it will not look like question and answer, but it's the workbook. So you should go through it very well and go through your workbook at least 3 times. I'm telling you, you will just be answering the question as if it's like you're licking cold stone. So that is it. Are you ready? Are you ready? So first of all, what do you understand by communication? Like, let's make it an interactive class. What do you understand by communication? Anybody, please. Communication, anybody. Like we make use of our WhatsApp, we make use of our Instagram, make use of our TikTok. That is communication. Passing one information or the other, either by writing, listening, speaking, something like that. So anybody, please, what do you understand by communication? Help us. You can sit down, just be audible. You say one-on-one interaction. He said his communication, his own understanding is one-on-one interaction, right? Is that correct? Eh? Who said no? Who said no? Okay. What do you understand by communication? You said no. So what do you understand by communication? That is own understand, and you said no. What do you understand by communication? You can sit down. You said that you're correct, but it must not be one on one. Something like that. Okay, so Yeah, the first question here is competence in language presupposes that one is able to dash, 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 and dash. The answer here is in competence in language, one is able to listen, speak, read, and write. Let me write it down just in case of people that don't have the PDF. Should I write it down? So for communication to be effective, one is supposed to be able to what? Read, speak, listen, and write. So the question can come in different ways. It's meant for you to understand it. So it can come in any different direction, do you get? But just understand that what they're trying to say, that for effective communication or for language to be competent, one is able to what? To read, write, speak, and listen. So the next question here is, the four language skills are what? Do you see that it's the same question, but they're asking it in a different way? So four language skills we have is what? Listening. Should I write it down? Okay. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So let's keep going. But yeah, but you have to understand that writing and speaking involves two skills, which are encoding skills and what? And the encoding skills is for which aspect? The listening and reading skills is for it involves a particular skill which is called decoding skills, and the speaking and writing involves what? Encoding skills. Let me explain. You see that this decoding here, listening and writing, listening and right, so listening and reading is for decoding. Here you're listening, you're reading, you're receiving an information. When you're listening, you're receiving an information. When you're reading, you're trying to put in an information. That is what? Decoding. You're trying to break down the code, just like a programmer that codes something. So for you going through that code that the programmer created or formed, you're trying to decode it by listening or by reading it. Then encoding, that you're now creating a program, or you're now creating a code. That's where you now have speaking. Like just like I'm speaking now, there is and it's recording. That is what? Encoding. Like you're coding up something. For someone to get access to the class that we already have now, the person has to download it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like as I'm speaking, I'm encoding, like I'm forming a code, I'm forming a program. The same thing with writing, because as you're writing, I don't know what is in your mind. You might be writing the same thing your neighbor is writing, but you might be writing it in a different way because you have your own code. You're encoding differently. That's why I say that listening and reading have a particular skills, which is what? Decoding skills, and speaking and writing have a particular skills, which is called encoding skills. Is that clear? Should I continue? So, which language skill is the first language skill that is acquired by an individual? Individual. Listen. Yes. Even when a child is growing up, the first thing a child will always you hear a child saying is mommy, daddy, or greeting. They learn greeting fast because that's the first thing. You have to listen first. So that is the first language skill. Because if you don't listen, you don't know how to speak English. If you don't listen, you don't know how to speak Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba. Do you get? So listening is the first skill. So just know that this question can come in different way. My own is to just make you understand it, so that even if it comes in different way, you'll be able to answer the question. Do you get? So the next one says critical listening involves learners listening for the purpose of understanding what a passage is all about. So like we have critical listening skills, we also have critical information literacy. Critical thinking, you can also say critical thinking, but why they say critical listening here is because listening is the first individual skills you're supposed to have for you to pick a language, for you to learn a language, you have to have a listening skills. So that's why critical listening is very important, because sometimes if you like in your if you go home now and your mom is speaking a different language like Yoruba or Igbo, there's yes, you're good with Yoruba, but maybe if she's discussing with her elder sister or her brother, there's this, you might be deep with the Yoruba language, do you get? But maybe you're not fluent with it, but because you have these critical listening skills, you already have a little knowledge of Yoruba, because when you now apply your little critical listening skills, you'll be able to understand what she's trying to say or what she said. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the next one says, one important of critical listening is that it enables us get information and effectively evaluate a text or the message in it. That's why it says that listening is part of decoding skills. So if you have critical listening skills, you'll be able to understand an information that is passed out effectively, like, and you're able to use it to do whatever you want to do. Just like how exam timetable is out. If you don't pay attention, like saying you're to be at ICTC by 10 a.m., if you do not pay attention, you might think it's 11 a.m. and you will miss the class, and you will miss the exam, you will miss everything. Like you have a bad day because you missed your exam. Another thing, you have a bad day because you did not put in your critical listening skills. Do you understand? So the next one says, young children who want to differentiate sorry young children who want to differentiate between sounds in the language adopt discriminative listening skills. So what is trying to say that we have critical listening skills and discriminative listening skills. So which individual adopt discriminative listening skills? Children. I say which individual adopt discriminative listening skills? Children. Who can tell me what is discrimination? Discrimination. Someone that is like say that this person like discriminating someone. Like, you must not give me a dictionary term. Like, what you understand by discrimination? Anybody? You can sit down and answer. Eh? Yeah. Say it again. Sorry. Yes. Mm. Okay, she said that what she understand by discrimination is someone discouraging you, right? Discouraging you, not supporting you, maybe based on one thing or the other, maybe because you're taller or you're short or you're fair or you're dark. Person is now discriminating. Oh, I don't want to do anything with this person. She's this, she's that. So when it comes to children, I don't know if that applies to them, but they are always eager to learn. They're desperate to learn. They're desperate to speak. They want to speak like they want to talk like you. That's why they always pay this. Like, it's more. I don't think it's. That's why they will not call it critical listening skill. That's why they call it discriminative listening skill. They just want to pick something, and that's why you always say when you say something, they will repeat it because they want to learn it. So it's children that adopt discriminative listening skills. So the next one, the four kinds of listening include. I have to PDF. So anybody that is PDF, please help me there. The four kinds of listening skills include shading and reflect. Let me write it down. Are you seeing it? Okay. Please, I'm a student like you. If as this class is going on and you feel like I went wrong in one place or the other, please, you're free to correct me. I'm also learning, okay? Thank you. So, back to what we are saying. 4 kinds of listening include critical, empathic, appreciative, and reflective. I'm not with my J1 GS, I would have break it down what it means. But you can maybe use your phone and Google that. So the next question here is, listening can be reciprocal or non-reciprocal. True or false? So we have reciprocal listening. It involves listen. Reciprocal listening involves those listening tasks. Are you there? Those listening tasks where there is the opportunity to interact with the speaker. That is called reciprocal listening. This is, I think we can see this type of reciprocal listening when we are gisting with our friend. Like, it's a listening task where there is the opportunity to interact with the speaker. While non-reciprocal is when one cannot interact with the speaker. Such listening task is listening to the radio or formal lectures or Zoom class, but there are some Zoom meetings that they make room for the people that join to maybe pass in a question or speak. But just know that non-reciprocal you don't doesn't involve one-on-one interaction with the speaker, but reciprocal involves one-on-one interaction with the speaker. Should I write it down? Okay. Thank you. The changing phase, the next one, the changing phase of language teaching means that for the teacher, the learner-centeredness becomes the center place of classroom methodology. The changing phase of language teaching means that for the teacher, the learner-centeredness becomes the center place of classroom methodology. Sorry, I don't understand this one. We skip it. Reading entails the ability to identify and correctly interpret words which the printed symbols represent. So here is explaining what reading is. So if the question can come as dash entails the ability to identify and correctly interpret words which the printed symbols represent. That's what reading. Do you understand? Do you understand? I'm hearing no. Do you understand? I should repeat myself. Thank you. Reading, I see that the question can come as dash entails the ability to identify and correctly interpret words which the printed symbols represent. That's reading. Just the way I'm reading this thing, I'm reading it to make you understand what is printed here, make you understand what is written down, make you understand, make you break the big grammar that is here. That is reading. Do you understand? So the question can come in different way. So the ability or the skills to identify and correctly interpret words is called reading. Do you understand? So what is intensive reading? It says here that intensive reading involves detailed reading for information in our immediate discipline or subject. So intensive reading is me reading based on a particular discipline. Me reading based on, like, if I'm a medicine student, I'm reading based on the field of medicine. I'm reading based on field of medicine or field of engineering or field of theater art, because I just want to understand that discipline. I want to be fluent in that area of discipline, in that professional area. That's intensive reading. Reading for a particular information. Do you understand? But you know that reading, if you can just pick up a book and want to read. Maybe I want to read this novel, maybe just want to read this to understand what is going on in our country. But intensive reading is that you have something in mind and you want to aim a particular goal, that I want to understand this particular topic. That is intensive reading. Do you understand? So the next one, reading that is meant to acquaint us with a wide range of reading materials outside our subject area is called extensive reading. I just explained that when I was explaining intensive reading, that when you're now reading outside the course, outside a particular topic, outside a particular field of discipline, that is extensive reading. I just want to have a knowledge of everything. Like, yes, if you ask me question on this area, yes, I can like give you, if it's based on politics, entertainment, anything, I can give you my own opinion of that. But intensive reading, oh, I don't know this area, I only know this, I'm only fluent with anything politics. That's intensive reading. But when you have extensive reading, let me write it down. So these are the two types of reading. They might tell you, the question can come as intensive reading and extensive reading are two types of reading. True or false? True or false? Reciprocal listening, right? And non-reciprocal listening are two types of listening. True or false? Thank you. Reading comprehension demands that we read with what? Reading comprehension intends that demands that we read with what? Let me ask this question. Which type of reading demands reading with understanding? Clap for yourselves. Reading techniques for academic purposes include sensitizing, speed, reading, guessing, predictions, the SQ4R method, and skimming and scanning. This SQ4R, please, do anybody know it? I've forgotten. SQ4R is a reading code. The SQ, then there's like skimming. I don't know. Please, if you have data, check what this is. SQ4R. It will come out. I remember seeing this question in my GS. Please, somebody help us and check it up. SQ4R. I think this R here is like there's 4R reading, reciting, something like that. Eh? Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Okay, please help me. This S is what? Uh-huh. Read, recite, eh? Eh? Record. Eh? Sorry, you said record, you said review, you said what? Revise, feeding. Please spell it. Sorry, excuse me. This one is X and SQ. It's not in this summary. That's why I asked for it because it's definitely come out. So we have another one. Okay. These things are called different approaches in reading. Do you get? Or different strategies in reading, type of different approach or types of different strategies in reading. So the question can come in anyway. So your own is that this thing, if you copy it, you just make more research on it, or you can also ask ChatGPT to formulate questions for you based on this. That's another way you can study with ChatGPT. Do you understand? You can tell it, please create or formulate questions, likely questions that likely objective questions based on this topic. It will give you question and it can also come out in exams. This one is the first one, and it's very common. This particular SQ4R. This third one involves three S and three R. So we have the survey, study read, and speed read. Then for the three R's, we have record, review, and reflect. Sorry, it's not straight. Please, you guys should please manage it like this. I'm really sorry. Then the last one is the P3 P3RU. That is the R here is 3 too. P3RU. We have the preview, we have the read, record, review, and use for you. Thank you. I think I'm done for this unit one. We'll enter the next one. There's no time. I'm trying to manage our time. This question, I see that it can come as, let me write it. Reading strategy, approach, or techniques. So the remaining ones in that unit one, you can understand it. So let's move on to unit two.